Welcome back to Edzi, your personal AI tutor, and to this extended episode on the living world, Chapter 1 of CBSE Class 11 Biology. We will spend approximately 30 to 60 minutes revising the chapter comfortably without rushing. I am Gaurav, and with me is Swati. Keep a notebook nearby if you have one, but you can also simply listen while traveling or relaxing. A student from Pune, Ria, once told me that taxonomy felt like a long list until she started arranging the categories as a family tree. That small change made the chapter much clearer. Today, we will explore biodiversity, species, identification, nomenclature, binomial names, taxonomy, systematics, the taxonomic hierarchy, examples, common confusions, and exam tips. By the end, you should be able to explain the ideas rather than merely repeat them.
That family tree idea is useful because this chapter is really about organizing the enormous variety of life. We will keep asking one question: what makes a classification meaningful? If you have your notebook, divide a page into three parts: diversity, naming, and hierarchy. If not, just keep those three words in mind. We will also stop regularly for short recall checks. So do not worry if you cannot answer every question immediately.
Let us begin with the chapter's sense of wonder. The living world includes plants, animals, microscopic organisms, and organisms found in very different habitats. The source refers to cold mountains, deciduous forests, oceans, freshwater lakes, deserts, and hot springs. A galloping horse, migrating birds, a valley of flowers, and an attacking shark all show different forms of life. This variety is not merely attractive, it creates a biological question: what exactly is living?
The chapter separates two questions hidden inside that larger question. One is technical: what is living, as opposed to non living? The other is philosophical: what is the purpose of life? The scientific discussion in this chapter focuses on the first question. That distinction is important in an answer because you should not shift from biological description to a philosophical argument.
Look around your own home. You may notice potted plants, insects, birds, pets, or other animals. Some organisms cannot be seen with the naked eye, yet they are present around us. The chapter makes an interesting observation. When the area of observation becomes larger, the range and variety of organisms generally increase. A dense forest would probably reveal more kinds of organisms than a small room.
Here is your first check. If you see a different kind of plant, animal, or organism, what does it represent in the chapter's explanation? Think before answering. The expected term is species. The chapter states that the known and described species range between 1.7 and 1.8 million. It also reminds us that many more organisms may be identified as new areas, including previously explored areas, continue to be studied.
That number is connected with biodiversity, which refers here to the number and types of organisms present on Earth. Do not reduce biodiversity to only the number of animals. The chapter presents a broad living world containing plants, animals, and organisms that may not be visible to the naked eye. In an exam answer, define biodiversity in terms of the variety or number and types of organisms present on Earth.
A common local name can create confusion. The same organism may be known by different local names in different places, even within one country. So imagine two students discussing an organism using their local names. They may both know the organism but still fail to understand each other. This is why biology needs a standard method of naming organisms.
The chapter also describes the historical development of biological knowledge. Early humans could distinguish living organisms from inanimate matter. Some inanimate objects, as well as certain plants and animals, evoked awe or fear and were even treated with reverence. Detailed descriptions of living organisms began later. Systematic study became necessary as humans wanted to understand organisms and also use them for food, clothing, and shelter.
The chapter gives another important idea: a purely anthropocentric view, meaning a view centered only on human beings, can limit biological progress. Studying organisms revealed similarities among living beings, both horizontally and vertically. It also supported the understanding that present day organisms are related to one another and to organisms that lived earlier on Earth. That recognition encouraged respect for biodiversity and conservation.
So, before moving ahead, let us hold three ideas together. First, life shows immense diversity. Second, the known species number is only a part of the total diversity because new organisms continue to be identified. Third, studying similarities and relationships helps us organize this diversity. This is the reason classification is not a decorative list, it is a practical response to the complexity of life.
Quick recall. Why would a biologist need more than local names? Give 2 points. You might say that local names vary from place to place and may cause confusion. A standard scientific name allows biologists in different parts of the world to refer to the same organism consistently. Notice how your answer contains both the problem and the solution.
Now we enter the naming section. The chapter uses three connected ideas: identification, nomenclature, and classification. Nomenclature means standardizing the naming of living organisms. But naming cannot happen in isolation. The organism must first be described correctly, and we must know which organism the name is attached to. This process of recognizing or determining the organism is identification.
Let me test the order. Suppose a biologist sees an organism and immediately assigns a name without describing it or determining what it is. Would that be a reliable scientific process? No. Identification must be clear enough for people in different parts of the world to arrive at the same name. Therefore, correct description and identification support nomenclature.
The chapter mentions internationally accepted codes for scientific naming. For plants, it refers to the International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, abbreviated as ICBN. For animals, it refers to the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, abbreviated as ICZN. The purpose is standardization. Scientific names help ensure that an organism has one accepted name and that the same name is not used for another known organism.
Students sometimes mix up identification and nomenclature. Identification answers, which organism is this? Nomenclature answers, what standard scientific name should be assigned to it? Classification then places organisms into convenient groups based on characters. They are related processes, but they are not interchangeable terms.
The scientific name in this chapter follows binomial nomenclature. Binomial indicates two names or two components. The first component is the generic name or genus name. The second component is the specific epithet. The mango is written as Mangifera indica. In this example, Mangifera is the genus, while indica is the specific epithet.
Here is a very common exam trap. In Mangifera indica, which word is the specific epithet? It is indica. The second component. Which word is the genus? Mangifera. The first component. Students often call the second word the species name, but in the terminology used here, the second word is the specific epithet, while the complete two-word name identifies the species.
The naming system was given by Carolus Linnaeus and is practiced by biologists worldwide. Biological names are generally in Latin or Latinized, irrespective of their origin, and are written in italics when printed. When handwritten, the two words are separately underlined. These presentation rules are not random. They indicate the formal scientific nature of the name.
Let us make the writing rule precise. The first word representing the genus begins with a capital letter. The second component, the specific epithet, begins with a small letter. Therefore, Mangifera indica is correctly written, whereas Mangifera indica is incorrect under this rule. If the name is handwritten, underline each word separately rather than using one continuous underline.
The chapter also explains the author citation. In Mangifera indica linna, the abbreviated author name appears after the specific epithet. It indicates that this species was first described by Linnaeus. For a school-level answer, remember the position. Author citation comes at the end, after the two components of the biological name.
Try this mini question. Why is binomial nomenclature convenient? Because the two-word format gives a standardized way to refer to an organism across locations. It also conveys the genus and the specific epithet, so the name is more informative than an unstructured local label. Keep the answer focused on uniformity and clarity.
We have now covered the main rules of binomial nomenclature. Let us recap before classification. Two components: genus first, specific epithet second. Genus begins with a capital letter. Specific epithet begins with a small letter. Printed names are italicized. Handwritten names are separately underlined. And an author abbreviation may appear at the end. These are excellent keywords for a short answer response.
Now let us ask why classification is needed at all. It is nearly impossible to study every living organism individually without some organizing method. Classification groups organisms into convenient categories based on easily observable characters. Plants, animals, dogs, cats, insects, wheat, and rice are familiar examples of categories used to organize our thinking.
The scientific term for these categories is taxa. The singular form is taxon. A taxon is a unit or group used in classification at a particular rank. Animals, mammals, and dogs can all be taxa, but they are at different levels. A dog is included within mammals, and mammals are included within animals. Thus, a taxon is not restricted to one fixed level.
Do not confuse a taxon with only a species. A species is one taxonomic category, while a taxon may refer to a group at the species, genus, family, or another level. The chapter even says that insects are recognizable objects, sharing features such as three pairs of jointed legs, and therefore they can be assigned a rank or category.
Taxonomy is the process or branch of study concerned with characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature of organisms. Modern taxonomic studies use external and internal structure, cell structure, development processes, and ecological information. Therefore, taxonomy is not based on one superficial feature alone.
That is a useful correction to a common assumption. If two organisms look somewhat alike externally, does that automatically settle their full classification? No. The chapter lists several kinds of information used in modern taxonomy. In an exam, mention more than one basis when asked about taxonomic studies: structure, cell features, development, and ecological information.
The earliest classifications were often based on the uses of organisms. Humans needed sources of food, clothing, and shelter, so usefulness was a natural starting point. Later, interest expanded towards diversity and relationships among organisms. This historical movement from use-based grouping to systematic study is important because it shows how biological classification became more scientific.
The broader study of diversity and relationships is called systematics. The word comes from the Latin word systema, meaning systematic arrangement of organisms. Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication. The scope of systematics was later enlarged to include identification, nomenclature, and classification, along with evolutionary relationships.
So taxonomy and systematics overlap, but the chapter gives systematics a wider scope because it takes evolutionary relationships into account. If a question asks you to distinguish them, explain that taxonomy deals with the processes of characterization, identification, nomenclature, and classification, while systematics includes these aspects and considers relationships among organisms, including evolutionary relationships.
Let us make the memory chain active rather than mechanical. What are the four processes basic to taxonomy? Try to recall them in order: characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature. The exact order may not always be demanded, but all four terms matter. If you leave out characterization, your definition becomes incomplete.
We are entering the central section now: taxonomic categories and hierarchy. Classification is not a single step process. It involves a hierarchy of steps, and each step represents a rank or category. All categories together form the taxonomic hierarchy. Each category is a unit of classification and is commonly called a taxon.
The broad categories in ascending order are species, genus, family, order, class, phylum or division, and kingdom. For plants, the term division is used at the level where phylum is used for animals. Please notice the direction. Species is the lowest category and kingdom is the highest category in this sequence.
The hierarchy works by grouping closely related units into broader units. Related species form a genus, related genera form a family, related families form an order, related orders form a class. Related classes form a phylum in animals or a division in plants. Finally, kingdoms contain organisms from various phyla or divisions. As we move upward, the groups become broader.
Now think about the pattern of similarities. Do common characteristics increase or decrease as we move from species towards kingdom? They decrease. Members of a lower taxon share more characteristics. Members of a higher category share fewer common characteristics, and relationships with other taxa at that same level become more difficult to determine.
This creates an important relationship between rank and similarity. Lower the taxon, greater the number of shared characteristics, higher the category, fewer the common characteristics, and greater the complexity of classification. Do not say that higher categories have more similarities. The direction is exactly opposite.
Taxonomists have also developed subcategories within the hierarchy to make the placement of taxa more sound and scientific. This tells us that classification is flexible enough to handle a very large diversity, rather than forcing every organism into only a few broad boxes. The central idea remains the same. Characters help determine where an organism belongs.
Let us examine species first. Taxonomic studies consider a group of individual organisms with fundamental similarities as a species. Closely related species should be distinguishable based on distinct morphological differences. The chapter's broader explanation also describes species as the fundamental unit in taxonomy. So this is the level from which the hierarchy begins.
The examples make the terminology clearer. In Mangifera indica, Solanum tuberosum and Panthera leo, Indica tuberosum and leo are specific epithets. Mangifera, Solanum, and Panthera are genera. Human beings belong to the species Sapiens, placed in the genus Homo, giving the scientific name Homo sapiens.
Genus comprises related species that have more characters in common with one another than with species of other genera. Potato and brinjal are different species, but both belong to the genus Solanum. Similarly, lion, leopard, and tiger are different species placed in Panthera. Panthera differs from Felis, which includes cats.
Here is a distinction to retain. A genus is not one species with a longer name. It is a group of closely related species. A genus may contain more than one specific epithet, as shown by Panthera and Solanum. If a question asks you to define genus, use the phrase an aggregate of closely related species.
Family is the next higher category. It contains related genera, but the number of similarities is still fewer than within a genus or species. In plants, families are characterized using vegetative and reproductive features. Solanum, Petunia, and Datura are placed in the family Solanaceae.
In animals, Panthera, containing lion, tiger, and leopard, is placed along with Felis, containing cats, in the family Felidae. Cats and dogs share some similarities but also have differences, so they belong to separate families, Felidae and Canidae. This example shows that a family contains related genera, not merely individual organisms.
Order is higher than family. It is an assemblage of families that exhibit a few similar characters. The similar characters are fewer than the similarities shared by different genera within a family. In plants, Convolvulaceae and Solanaceae are placed in the order Polymoniales, mainly based on floral characters. In animals, Carnivora includes families such as Felidae and Canidae.
Let us check the direction again. Species are grouped into genera into families, and families into orders. If a student writes that a family is formed by related species, the answer is incomplete. The expected relation is a family is an assemblage of related genera, while an order is an assemblage of related families.
Class includes related orders. The chapter gives class Mammalia as an example. Order Primata, which includes monkey, gorilla, and gibbon, is placed in Mammalia along with order Carnivora, which includes animals such as tiger, cat, and dog. Mammalia contains other orders as well. Therefore, class is broader than order.
Phylum is the next higher category for animals. Classes containing fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals are included in phylum Chordata because of common features such as the notochord and the dorsal hollow neural system. For plants, the corresponding higher category is called division.
Kingdom is the highest category discussed in this hierarchy. Animals belonging to various phyla are assigned to kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Plantae is distinct and contains plants from various divisions. So the hierarchy does not mean that every organism shares the same final kingdom. Animals and plants are placed in their respective kingdoms.
We have completed the major categories from species to kingdom. एक second pause करके सोचो. If you are given a sequence, what should you look for? Start with species, then genus, family, order, class, phylum or division, and kingdom. In ascending sequence, the groups become broader and common characteristics decrease.
अब तक हम the first major ideas and the complete hierarchy cover कर चुके हैं. This is a good moment to test yourself with AD's active recall approach. Close your notes and explain, in your own words, why the hierarchy is useful. The purpose is to organize biological knowledge, make organisms easier to study, and make communication about life forms more precise.
And if your explanation feels incomplete, that is not a problem. A useful answer should connect diversity with classification. There are too many organisms to study separately. So, organisms with shared characters are grouped into taxa. The hierarchy then arranges those taxa at different ranks. This is much stronger than memorizing 7 words without understanding their relationship.
Let us apply the hierarchy to the examples listed in the chapter. For human beings, the biological name is Homo sapiens. Homo is the genus, and sapiens is the specific epithet. Humans are placed in family Hominidae, order Primata, class Mammalia, and phylum Chordata.
For the housefly, the biological name is Musca domestica. The genus is Musca, the family is Muscidae, the order is Diptera, the class is Insecta, and the phylum is Arthropoda. Notice how the full scientific name and the hierarchy are connected. The name gives genus and specific epithet, while the table extends the placement to higher categories.
For mango, the biological name is Mangifera indica. Its genus is Mangifera, family Anacardiaceae, order Sapindales, class Dicotyledone, and division Zegal. For wheat, the biological name is Triticum aestivum. Its genus is Triticum family Poaceae, order Polis, class Monocotyledone, and division Saecule.
Did you notice that mango and wheat share the same division in the table but differ at several lower categories? That is a useful way to understand classification. At a higher category, organisms can share broader features while differing more at lower ranks. The classification table is not asking you to find identical organisms. It is showing degrees of relationship and similarity.
Now recall the animal examples. Panthera leo is the lion, Panthera tigris is the tiger, and Panthera pardus is the leopard. Their shared genus Panthera reflects several common features. Potato and brinjal are different species but belong to Solanum. These examples are especially helpful for explaining that one genus can include multiple species.
Let us make this an active recall challenge. I will name the category and you name its contents. Genus contains related what? Species. Family contains related what? Genre. Order contains related what? Families. Class contains related what? Orders. Phylum contains related what? Classes. Kingdom contains organisms from various phyla or divisions.
A small clarification, the categories are not merely collections based on one visible shape. The chapter calls them distinct biological entities and explains that classification uses characters to identify similarities and differences. Modern taxonomic study can consider external and internal structure, cell structure, development, and ecological information. This gives classification a more scientific foundation.
A student may ask, if all members of a higher category are not very similar, why group them together? The answer is that they still share selected broader characters, even though they share fewer features than members of lower categories. Classification balances two needs: recognizing similarities and handling the enormous variety of organisms.
We are entering the exam question section. A commonly tested question is, why are living organisms classified? A strong answer says that the living world contains an immense diversity of organisms, making individual study difficult. Classification groups organisms using shared characters, organizes biological knowledge, and makes identification and communication easier.
Another question asks why classification systems change. From the chapter's ideas, answer carefully, as knowledge about organisms, their similarities, differences, and relationships develops. Systems may be revised to provide more sound and scientific placement. Do not write that systems change randomly. Connect the change with improved knowledge and understanding.
A direct question may ask you to identify the correctly written scientific name of mango. The correct form is Mangifera indica. The genus begins with a capital letter and the specific epithet with a small letter. In printed form, both words are italicized. In handwritten form, they are separately underlined.
Let us try the sequence question. Which sequence is correct? Species, order, phylum, kingdom, genus, species, order, kingdom, or species, genus, order, phylum. The correct sequence must preserve every rank: species, genus, family, order, class, phylum or division, kingdom. So among incomplete options, you should look for the one that keeps the lower to higher direction correctly.
An answer on taxon should state that a taxon is a unit or group of classification at a particular rank. Examples can include species, genus, family, or kingdom. Avoid defining taxon only as a collection of organisms with identical features, because members of a taxon share relevant characters but need not be identical in every respect.
For definitions of phylum, class, family, order, and genus, use relational answer frames. Genus is a group of related species. Family is a group of related genera. Order is an assemblage of related families. Class includes related orders. Phylum includes related classes in animals, while divisions used for plants at that level. These frames help you write precise answers under time pressure.
For a longer answer, illustrate the taxonomic hierarchy with one plant and one animal. You can use mango and human beings or mango and housefly because the chapter supplies their categories. Write the biological name first, then move through genus, family, order, class, phylum or division, and kingdom. A neat vertical arrangement reduces the chance of reversing two ranks.
One more thoughtful question asks what we learn from identification of individuals and populations. Stay within the chapter. Correct identification allows organisms to be named consistently, placed in appropriate categories, and studied in relation to other organisms. It supports the organized study of biodiversity and the communication of biological knowledge.
Let us pause for a full chapter map. The living world contains immense diversity, with 1.7 to 1.8 million known and described species and more still being identified. Local names can cause confusion. Identification recognizes the organism, nomenclature standardizes its name, classification groups it, taxonomy studies these processes, And systematics also considers relationships, including evolutionary relationships.
The naming recap is equally important. Binomial nomenclature has two components: genus and specific epithet. The genus comes first and starts with a capital letter. The specific epithet comes second and starts with a small letter. Printed names are italicized while handwritten names are separately underlined. Mangifera indica is the chapter's central example.
The hierarchy recap runs from narrow to broad: species, genus, family, order, class, phylum or division, and kingdom. As we move upward, the number of common characteristics decreases. Lower taxa share more characteristics, while higher categories are broader and relationships become more difficult to determine. This single pattern can help you reason through many hierarchy questions.
Before the final challenge, remember the practical importance. Taxonomic knowledge helps organize and communicate information about life forms. The chapter connects such study with agriculture, forestry, industry, biological resources, and biodiversity conservation. The deeper message is that understanding relationships among organisms can encourage responsible appreciation of the living world.
Here is your final challenge. Without looking at your notes, write 4 lines, define taxonomy, explain binomial nomenclature using Mangifera indica, arrange the categories from species to kingdom, and state why common characteristics decrease as we move upward. Then check one common mistake. Never write a capital letter for the specific epithet, and never confuse a genus with a complete species name. If one doubt remains, Etsy can help you work through that exact question step by step, rather than asking you to memorize a ready-made line. You have revised the living world thoughtfully today. Keep your answer frames clear, trust your reasoning, and come back for another calm revision session soon. All the best.